honestly, when we're thinking about change, one of the things, the very most important thing that I would say is to recognize what's not right. Like when you're going to change something, obviously there's something that's not right, whether it's in your opinion or it's just not right, period. Well, to your standard.
Welcome to the Mo Brooks Podcast. This podcast is all about self-leadership, change, and personal growth. Our purpose is to help you reach your goals in 4 major areas of your life: your spiritual goals, family goals, physical goals, and financial goals. And now, your host, Mo Brooks.
As always, I'm excited about our guest on today. This young woman is a phenomenal young woman. We talked about all types of stuff. I'm talking passion, purpose, problems. You know, it's going to be a good one. So I'm excited. Are you ready for this conversation between myself and Danyelle Brown? Come on, let's dive right into it. I promise you, this young lady is phenomenal, and she is going to be a game changer for this world. Let's tune in. Danyelle, how are you doing on today? What's going on?
What's up? I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for agreeing to be on today. I'm extremely excited, to learn more about you, to hear some of your life experiences and how you can help other people reach their goals in some areas of their lives. So I'm excited to jump in. So how would you introduce yourself, right? Instead of me introducing you, how would you introduce yourself to other people?
Honestly, that's a great question. Just as a woman from Detroit, a college student, minister, servant, somebody who loves Jesus, loves people, super outgoing, I don't know.
All right. That's what's up. So from Detroit, okay, so do you rep the D pretty hard,
Yeah, 313, not no 248 or other area codes. I'm from the west side of Detroit.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So how was your upbringing? I heard you mention you're a minister. You love to serve. Is that something that was poured into you as a child? Is that something that just kind of came recently? Talk about that.
Yeah, that's definitely something that came when I got to college. Like I said, I grew up on the west side of Detroit on Joy Road in Tireman, in a 2-parent household, which is not something that's very normal over there. But I was blessed to have my mom and my dad in the household and with my brother. I saw a lot growing up in terms of drug dealing, just a whole bunch of stuff that a child should not be exposed to. I was exposed to at a real young age. But nonetheless, I think that helped mold me into who I am. I knew about Jesus and I knew who God was, but we weren't a real church-going family. My great-grandmother introduced me to church and made sure when me and my brother went over there to stay on the weekends and stuff like that we was going to church Sunday morning bright and early. So it's not like I just didn't know who Christ was. I just didn't have that relationship until I got to college.
Okay. Now, you said something interesting. You said that seeing the things that you probably shouldn't have seen as a child, you said that it molded you into the person you are today. Have you seen people in the same circumstances, the same circle, the same environment, and it molded them into a different person who's, made a lot of horrible decisions? Have you seen that? And my question is, what's the difference? What makes the difference?
Honestly, so to answer your first question, absolutely. I have people who I was super close to when I was young who, are now either on drugs, unfortunately locked up, or have passed away. So yes, absolutely. There have been people who, went a different route than I did, who experienced and saw the same things that I did. And me now, where I am looking back, I can see that that was God, like keeping me and protecting me, and making sure that I was going to get to where He wanted me to be. But yeah, like I really have no answer as to oh well, my parents did this to make sure I was on the right way. Like I just never had a mindset of, well, I'm gonna go and do this, or I'm gonna go and do that. And again, me looking back, it's God was keeping me for real.
So as a young woman, I'm assuming there had to be some decisions though that you made that kind of maybe made the difference between the paths that were presented before you. Is that right?
Yeah, there were definitely decisions that I had to make in terms of choosing different friends, just saying no to like, oh Danielle, you should come do this, or we gonna go do that. Like, okay, y'all go ahead and do that. And actually, now that I think about it, I think that my parents definitely did play a part in knowing what's right and wrong, and being able to be secure in myself enough to say no to certain situations. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Okay, so now this is getting good to me. Okay, because so you make, like, did you have a vision for your life at that, like, in your younger years? Like, did you always want to go to college? Like, what type of vision, or did you have a vision, or did it just kind of fell in your lap that you just made some great decisions?
Yeah, I absolutely did not have no type of vision. Okay. I'm gonna be 100% honest.
I love it.
Yeah, it really did fall in my lap. I've always known that college was important. I knew what college was. I knew that you should go to college. So it was always like, yeah, I'm open to it. But I was kind of just like riding the wave of life, if that makes sense. My mom, she went to college, but when she had me, she dropped out of college. My father did not go to college. Nobody who was in my household or like super close. I'm a first generation college student, basically. And so I knew that it was right, but early on I was never thinking like, yes, I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna be a doctor. Like just having all of these big goals that some children and some households instill in their children. I didn't have that. My parents were they've always been like, I'm going to support whatever you do. And so I think that just kind of gave me I'm going to just see what's out here, if that makes sense.
No, most definitely. Now, I love that because I think a lot of times, as relates to us obtaining our goals, going after things that God has for our lives, that we think that we have to have some type of awesome vision, or we have to see this or see that. That's not everybody's story. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You hear all those Cinderella stories like, hey, I seen it and I went for it and I got it.
Yeah.
Right. In your case, that's not the case. And I think that's one of the purposes of this podcast, is to really show the different ways and different avenues how people get to where they are and where they're going. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that perspective and that realness. Like, nah, it's just kind of,
Yeah, for sure.
I kind of hit the blessed lottery on this one, so.
All right.
So now, okay, do you have a vision for like your life direction? Do you have like goals and aspirations and stuff like that?
Absolutely.
Where did that vision and goals and aspirations come from? Because you went from a place where you kind of didn't have it and you got to some good places. Now that, okay, I do see some stuff that I want, and I have some goals and aspirations. Where did that come from?
That didn't come until I discovered my purpose and I found out who God created me to be. So without that purpose of knowing who I am, knowing what God says about me, it didn't come until then. And so, yeah.
Oh, that's good. So your purpose actually led you to your goals and your vision.
Absolutely.
Now that's huge, okay?
Yeah.
Because, there's somebody listening. I'm telling you, somebody listening, okay, I don't know which direction. I have a lot of aspirations, but I don't know which one I should go for and stuff like that. And it's probably that lack of purpose. So how did you find your purpose? Like, what was that process for you? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, so outside of, well, to answer your question before I even get to that, I found my purpose through the church. Like I mentioned before, when I came to college, I knew about church. I knew church was important. So it was like, okay, I have to be a part of some church. And so visiting the church that I go to, Mount Zion, and joining the church, sitting under my pastor, and honestly, I just started doing stuff. Like, people was asking me to, oh, can you help out with the kids? Can you serve at this senior dinner? Like, just asking me to do stuff. And upon me showing up and doing what they asked me to do, and ultimately just doing what God told me to do, my purpose fell into my lap.
Now let's back up a little, okay? Because we have, you grew up not being heavily involved in church like that, okay? Mm-hmm. You didn't have a plan or a certain goals or vision for your life. And then did the whole church thing happen when you moved to Kalamazoo from Detroit? And if so, like, how did that happen? Did you just like, hey, I'm going to go to church one day? Or like, what happened? How did you like get connected to a church in Kalamazoo?
So it got real steep for me. My senior year, the summer of my senior year, leaving high school and coming into college, I just felt like life was just getting rough. Honestly, I had a lot of boy troubles. I was having just financial issues about worrying about where I was going to get this money for college from and stuff like that. And really, I believe that I got broken down to a place where it was like, okay, I don't have no other answers. I don't know what to do. And like I said, my great grandmother, knowing about God and being introduced to him through her, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna just try this God thing out. And so I was being more intentional about going to church because I knew that, again, I knew church was important and I had all these issues. So it was like, okay, nothing that I'm doing myself is working. So what's up, Jesus, basically. And so that's how I started going to church and really taking church seriously. And when I made the decision to actually join and be part of Mount Zion.
Okay, wow. No, that's powerful. That you have the wherewithal to like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I don't got the answers. Let me try something different. Okay, You got a person listening. Like, what would you tell them? They have financial worries. They're having troubles with their relationship. They could be a senior in high school. Man, they could be in their mid-30s. They could be in college. Like what advice would you give a person? But they struggling. They stumbled upon this podcast. They need some help.
Right. Yeah. Honestly speaking, there is nothing that you can do about your life situations by yourself. First of all, ultimately, having that relationship with God, knowing Jesus is going to be your foundation. And then having people around you who can help you and guide you through these life issues. Number one, you can't do it alone, and you don't have to do it alone. And you're not the only person who is going through what you're currently going through. Like, there's people who have been through this very situation that you're in, who actually have the tools and things that you can do to get yourself out of that situation. So let God be your foundation. You ain't going through this alone, and you don't have to. And you're not the only person who has been through what you're currently going through.
So, look, I see this a lot. I see when individuals may be struggling, they have goals, they have aspirations, they have dreams, but they're struggling to obtain them. They get stuck in a rut. I see individuals a lot. They go ISO mode. They go alone. And the reason being, they feel like they can't trust anybody. how do you, or how did you, like, open up your life for, like, to share it with somebody else? Give somebody else your heart, tell them your fears, tell them your struggles. Like, what does that process look like for you? Because I just feel like that's a hard thing to do for a lot of people. So how did that happen?
Yeah, that's actually a pretty heavy question because it is a very hard thing to do, to be very vulnerable and vulnerable enough to open up to someone. But honestly, it started with, it wasn't much that I had to do per se. It started with like people actually caring about me enough to get to know me and talk to me and just build that relationship. And once they did, I felt like I could open up to them. However, before that, there were some things that God had to deal with me with, some things that I had to pray about, some things that I had to forgive some people for, because without that forgiveness and letting go of the past situations that I had been through, it wouldn't have been none of that opening up, vulnerability, trusting people and stuff like that. So I had to internally let go of things that I had been through before.
How do you forgive somebody?
Honestly, you know what? That's a great question, because people really make this forgiveness thing super hard. It's simply making a decision to forgive them. And as simple as it sounds, people make it complex. But you have to be, well, I had to be honest about the feelings that I had, and I had to stop suppressing those feelings. And once I was honest about the feelings that I had, then it was like, okay, I have to do something about this. And that next step was forgiving the individuals who, put the feelings on me that I felt. And it was just a decision, like, okay, you know what? This is heavy. Like, I don't want to continue to carry this. I'm going to forgive them. And I'll say this, I thought I had forgave people a long time ago, until I was placed in situations to where it was like, this still is a little heavy. This still hurts a little bit. I still feel like XYZ. And then I realized through God telling me, like, you really haven't forgave that person. And so me thinking back on those situations, the moment where I really knew I forgive them or forgave them is when I made the decision to actually forgive them.
No, that's what's up. And you gotta kind of be real with yourself. Like, it's not the other person, it's me.
Yes.
I have to let this go. I have to stop thinking about it. I have to stop, talking about what they did to me over and over and over again to like 10,000 different people. Like, this
exactly.
You know what I'm
saying? No, that's facts. I saw a meme or a post on Instagram the other day, and to summarize it, it talked about like being able to heal without talking to everybody about what you're healing from.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, especially me being a woman, and I'm sensitive, I'm emotional, we as people like to do that. We talk about the situation. Let me tell you what so-and-so did. Let me tell you what I'm going through. How you doing? Not good because of XYZ. So that's a huge part of forgiveness as well. Being intentional about what you're talking about and what you're thinking about, and how long you're allowing yourself to think about those things as well.
Absolutely. Because I've learned every time you talk about it, you reopen the wound. And you're not giving it time to heal. We don't put our mouth on it. Guess what? It's healing. Yeah. But the moment we talk about it to somebody else, we're reliving the experience, and it's pissing us off even more.
That's a fact.
So that's what's up. Now, this is important because on this podcast, we're talking about, reaching our goals spiritually, with our family, with our finances, and this is with our health as well. This is so important because forgiveness literally impacts all four of those areas. So,
Yeah.
I just kind of got a feeling, somebody needs to let something go. All right, you've been
Let
holding
it go.
let it go. You've been holding on too long. All right, they ain't come up for no reason. Okay, you have to let it go. All right, so let it go. It's gonna be all right. All right, and go get what you're supposed to get. Now, I want to circle back around to this purpose. Okay, you talked about you found your purpose. What is your purpose? Okay, what's your passion? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So God created me to preach. My purpose is to share Jesus with the world. And He gave me the platform of helping children and women to really be everything that He desires them to be. And so, yeah.
That's what's up. Okay. So to help children and women. All right, now that's fire. Now, I know that you have a heart for women and children, right? Like, where did that heart come from, or that passion come from, to like want to serve and help children and women?
Yeah, they kind of came from the same place, but not 100%. I would say children. I've always had a heart for little kids. However, as I began to like just grow and experience life situations, it really hurt me to see young black little boys and little girls experiencing the things that they experience, and not being able to control it. Like the cards that they were dealt, they did not choose. And so just really seeing that problem, like, and being very hurt about that, pushed me to say, like, look, I have to help and do something about this. And well, yeah, they are very similar, because with women it was the same thing. Seeing women go through things in relationships that they didn't have to go through, treat themselves in a way that they really didn't have to, and God really didn't call or purpose them to treat themselves, like, if that makes sense. So really just seeing people struggle, children and women, and knowing that they didn't have to struggle with the things that they struggle with, or that they have help.
That's what's up. Now let's talk about this non-married life with women and being single. Listen, I don't even have a question. I don't even have a question, but I just want to talk about it. I just just share from your heart some advice. You know what I'm saying, to the young ladies, to young women who are single, they're not married. They may be struggling with their goals, and any one of those goals that we're talking about, they may have dreams and aspirations, but they feel like, it's just not happening. Can you deal with that?
Yes, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about this. So I'm gonna just talk about it. I think that, or I've experienced a lot of women who are single who feel like because they're single, I can't reach my goals. Because I'm single, like, I can't do this or that. Like, they use being single as a stumbling block, as to like why they can't really experience life, and really, like, it's a lot of things are, oh well, when I get married I'm gonna do this, or when I get married and have children it's gonna be this, or when God sends me a man, or when I find my husband, da 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 da. Like, it's always, I can't do anything until this happens. And to be honest, being single is, well, I don't know, because I ain't married, but it's amazing. And I really encourage single women to maximize this time, because I don't know about everybody else, but I love, like, being able to have my own space, being able to do what I want, go where I want, being able to save my money how I want to save my money. Like, and honestly, being able to serve at the magnitude that I serve in, without having to, and I ain't trying to make marriage sound like a bad thing, but without
Okay, you saying the right thing. No, I feel You know what I'm saying? There's a different.
But
I'm
yeah,
sorry
like
to cut you off, but go ahead. Go.
you could, but without having to have that like accountability, or well, not accountability, but it's just you. And when you're married, it's not just you anymore. And so it's a blessing. And so my encouragement to any single woman who's watching this: do not look at your single season like it's a disease or like it's something to be frowned upon. This is an amazing place to be.
No, that makes so much sense because when you do get married, I've been married for 5 years now, and there's a different level of service,
Yeah.
being single. Oh my goodness. It's just different. But when you have a family and kids, so I think it's important to maximize our singleness
Mm-hmm.
because there's some great benefits in being single, some great benefits with being married,
Yes,
so I,
absolutely.
I, I just really think that's important. And our culture has messed us up, Danielle. Real talk.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because, every restaurant you go to, there's always two seats. Why can't it just be one? Why can't I just go
Right.
by myself? You know what I'm saying? So we just all messed up here. But cool, cool. Nah, thank you for sharing that insight. And I just know that really blessed and helped somebody um, as it relates to, being single. And the young woman out here. Now, you didn't tell me to push this, but I just need to push it anyway. All right,
Yeah.
you're an author. You wrote a book. All right,
And
can you please talk about your book? What's the title? You know what I'm saying? Like, talk about your book.
so the title of my book is A Message to Women, and the subtitle is Walking in the Fullness of Who God Created You to Be. And the book is really letters of affirmation to women about current or different situations that we go through in life. So the waiting phase or the waiting season, being in a season of feeling like your heart is broken, and just different seasons, different things, addressing different things that we as women go through from a standpoint of what God has to say about those things.
No, that's what's up. So where can we go to get that book? I want to make sure that people can go somewhere to connect with you and get that book.
For sure. So you guys can find it on my website, www.danyelleb.com. That's DANYELLEB. It's right here, ain't
Yeah, it is. Let me get it. It is. It's right there. It's right there. It's right there. Yeah.
it? Good.
All right. Awesome. So, before we get off, I was supposed to ask this on the front end because I want to ask this question every podcast interview that we do. And that question is, how do we change? Okay. How do we change? And yeah, how do you change? If you want to change anything, like how in the world do we do it? If somebody's like, I want to change this, or I want to change, like, what's the process? How do we change?
Yeah. Honestly, let me think about that because I'm in this mode of like just do it, right? Like I'm on some execution, like do it, right? But honestly, when we're thinking about change, uh one of the things, the very most important thing that I would say is to recognize what's not right.
Mhm.
Like when you're going to change something, obviously there's something that's not right, whether it's in your opinion or it's just not right, period. Well, to your standard, rather. So after you recognize what's not right, and then you make that adjustment, if you will. Um, but yeah, I think those are two like very important steps to change.
I love it. I love it. Listen, thank you so much for being my first. This is my very first official podcast interview. Usually I'm doing the solo thing, but I'm switching it up to doing interviews. We're going to have a new interview for you each and every single week. So thank you,
Yay.
first person. I mean, you got to promise me one thing, that you will come back. You will come back.
I'll come back.
All right, cool, sweet. So thank you so much. Listen, you guys, go to Danyelle B. All right, go to DanyelleB.com. Pick up her book. Connect with her. All right, phenomenal young woman, and she is changing this world a day at a time. All right, so Danyelle, before we let you go, all right, just drop an encouraging gem, an encouraging word to help somebody through their day, their week, their month, their year, as we leave.
Absolutely. So, my encouraging word or encouraging thought would be everything that you do has a purpose, and your purpose is greater than just you. There are people who are depending on you to wake up and show up fully 100% every single day. So, just as you go about your day, don't take anything for granted, and be mindful that everything is happening intentionally, and it's bigger than just you.
Y'all heard her. Show up. All right.
Show up.
Listen, thank you. I'll holler at y'all later. Appreciate you, Danyelle. All right.
Thank you.